What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Did you have a good day? What did you learn today? So today I learned that good things come to those who wait. Sometimes I got a little frustrated today because we're dealing with change and things like that, and I had a couple people that kind of had a little attitude or whatever, and so I had to remember that I had to be the one that didn't have my attitude on. So in order to diffuse the situation, I had to process my thoughts a different way and focus my energy on something else and just don't worry about it, and it just so happened that I did not have to come back to the situation. It was one of those things where I was actually helping someone, and so they didn't want to be helped, and oh well. So I moved on. But today was such an awesome day. Our project launches tomorrow, and I will be fully transitioned into my new role. I'm so very excited, and I'm just, wow. We had a few meetings today, and I don't know, when I saw my name on paper, I was like, oh, that's me. Yes. So I had my little title by my name and everything, and it felt so good. I have so much to learn, but I'm one of the, there's a team, they're project management, and project management they have been spearheading this entire project for us, doing a lot of, if you know anything about project management, then you already know what I'm talking about. But they have been doing so much behind the scenes and, making sure that we have not just the resources that we need, but the understanding of what it is that we're going to be doing. They have been so thoroughly involved in this project for such a really long time. And it's amazing how you can hear a time frame and be like, dang, have we really been doing this for that long? So the second meeting I was in, the project management team was in there, and as we were getting ready to wrap up, my boss asked them, did they have any final words? Was there anything else they wanted to, say before we closed out of the meeting? And one of the people said, this has been 4 years in the making. Have fun with it. It's been a lot of work that has gone into this project. Everything is going to be fine. You'll be successful at what you're doing. Things were thoroughly thought out as much as possible. I mean, there were really positive words. But hearing this has been 4 years in the making, I was like, wow. I did not realize that we have actually been working on this that long. Because I remember, I've been with the company 9 years. And I remember when we first started this, it really started with just upgrading our system. And from that point, as part of the upgrade, there were a lot of, different features placed behind the scenes. And the whole point of doing that was for us to be where we are now, because the system that we were in was not capable of providing us with the data that we needed in order to do the reporting and the functionality. There were some things that just needed to be turned on. There were some things that were turned on, they just weren't working properly. So, oh my gosh, it was just like this realization when he said the words. I was like, I did not realize that we had been working on this project for so long. So it is going to be absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I said to my boss was, I don't think people understand that we are actually making history, for the company. We are about to do something that this company has never done before. I don't even think that they could wrap their mind around being where we are right now. So that was my day pretty much in a nutshell. I was just like, wow. So, I'm excited because, I had a conversation after the third meeting today with one of the ladies, because they were in that meet. They were actually in the last 3 meetings with one of the young ladies on the project management team. And she is, oh my goodness, she can run rings around anybody with regard to, knowing how to use the system and the reporting aspect of it and different things like that. So, I walked over and I was like, hey, what you got going on? So she was kind of telling me, so she was like, I don't know if you or, she was talking about the other young lady will be doing this. And I said, if it has anything to do with reporting, I'm going to be dealing with it. So, so she was like, oh, okay. So I was like, well, what you got going on? So she was talking to me about it and everything. And she was showing me the report that she was working on. And basically where she is that she's in the testing phases of this report, because, we can't really use it right now because we're just now launching the project tomorrow. So once the project has actually been underway, this new report that was built in the system will enable us to monitor what is actually going on with the workflow, and it'll handle giving us information about so many different aspects and so many different views of how the work is being done, who is being done by, different things like that. So I was excited to, learn that today. And so she was just talking about, she was doing like a little test run, and she was saying that, in the test run, she noticed that the report was doing this, it was doing that, it was pulling in this information and things like that. And so keeping all of that in mind, we were I was watching her having to go and kind of tweak it here and tweak it there and clean this up and stuff like that. So that way, when she actually ran the report, it would only give her the data based on the parameters that she actually set, and it wouldn't give her false information. And so it was just awesome to learn that. And so even my boss feels like she is the premier person to learn something from with regard to reporting. Now, she knows the system extremely well, but she's also like this reporting guru, and that's my area. I will be dealing with all the reporting and doing data cleanup and things like that. And so I am by trade, from the very beginning of my career, what they call a data miner, which basically means that I'm the person that will come in, and how my career got started is I work for a company, and every aspect of their data itself was, every piece of it was on a piece of paper. This is when Access really became popular. Not a whole lot of people were using it because people didn't really understand it if you were not a programmer and things like that. And so even though I went to school for Microsoft Office, they don't teach you building databases from scratch to the degree that I was doing it. So I'm a self-taught data miner. So I got started with this company, and I took everything that they had on paper, dumped it into Excel, and then I pulled that that spreadsheet with multiple worksheets into an Access database, and I set up the criteria for it to run queries so that it can actually dump out into a report based on the criteria. So I said all that to say that this is what these people do, because that is a part of learning project management. You have a business management degree, and this is what you do. You fool with numbers. You learn how to develop different processes, and you deal with all kinds of reporting and stuff like that. And so this person is like, she's just like the guru of the company. So I'm excited because when she was telling me about this report, I was like, okay. So I told her, I said, now I need to be working very closely with you because I'm interested in learning whatever it is that you're willing to share with me. I need every ounce of knowledge that you have in order for me to be able to do my job to the quality that you're doing it. So I'm willing to learn whatever you're willing to share. And so she's like, okay, well, we getting started tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, that works for me. So she was excited. I was excited, two geeks excited about crunching numbers. So I told my boss, I was like, so, I'm going to be sitting with, da-da-da-da-da tomorrow and everything. I hope that's okay with you because I've already, we've already set up a little schedule. And so she was like, oh, no, that's perfect. I want you to have every resource that you need for you to be able to do your job. And she is the perfect person for you to train with. And I was like, well, I'm glad you feel that way because that's who I'm going to be tied to until she says she can't help me no more. So from what I understand, it'll be several months that, they move on to their next project. So, it'll probably be this time next year, and she and I are still working very closely together. And I'm really hoping so because I'm hoping that, that I'm going to learn quite a bit of information, and, I'm going to be able to just pop out these reports with ease. That's what I'm hoping because, I am a geek. I'm a number cruncher. Yes, I like squeezing out, stats. And if my husband was here, I'd tell him shut up because anybody who knows me personally knows that statistics caused my blood pressure to be up for the entire semester that I was in school. I thought I was about to stroke out. I was having such a hard time in that class. I passed the class with a B, which is irrelevant. But yeah, so now I find myself dealing with numbers. I will tell you something else. I have been thinking very much about, if I decide to go back to school for my master's, which has never been really off the table. One of the things that has, because this 2017 was supposed to be the year that I took off to, work on my businesses, try to get things off the ground, try to figure out, what direction I was going in, if I wanted to kind of remain in the field of psychology, if I wanted to try to transition into something else, what is it that I want to do? And so I have had so many opportunities thrown at me until it is just a little difficult to put my finger on what I want to get my master's in. But I keep coming back to psychology, and so I'm like, okay, because you driving real slow. I'm not really sure what's going on. So if I continue with, there's a field of psychology called industrial and organizational psychology. This field of psychology primarily is something that people who go into human resources would that's what they would specialize in. And if you're going to be an industrial and organizational psychologist, you have to get your PhD. Well, I'm not trying to be a psychologist at all. I had already made that decision a long time ago. So if I was to get my, since I got my bachelor's, if I was to get my master's, that would really be the, where I would cut it off. I'm not doing another 5-6 years to get my PhD because I'm not trying to go into therapy. So if I got my master's in I&O, then that would fall in line with what I'm doing, because one of the things that I do besides analyzing data, I'm also developing processes, and I'm trying to help my coworkers learn more efficient ways to do their job, and I'm looking at habits, and I'm, things like that. And so not just how they do their job, but why they do their job the way that they're doing it, and what is the thought process behind coming up with this system for yourself. And if you're dealing with challenges, what are those challenges, and how are those challenges actually impacting you being able to push through and move forward. And so that's I&O. And then there is another area, can't think of what it is right now, because I didn't really think about this conversation before I start talking about it. But there are a few different areas that I could get my master's in, and it all still comes back to, oh God, I forget what it's called. But this particular field of, this particular master's degree, it has nothing to do with psychology, but it does have to do with human behavior, but not from the standpoint of psychology itself. It's, more business related, and it does have to do with analyzing data. And so I thought about that. So there's a few different ways that I've thought about looking at the decision to get my master's, and trying to decide exactly, which path I want to take. I will not start school until I have decided exactly what I want to do, and what I want out of it. And so with that being said, my thing is, because of, I don't want to have to leave my current job. So I want to make sure that, what I get my master's in does not take me out of, not necessarily my field of study, but don't take me so far away from what I'm doing that now I have to look for another job because it doesn't line up with what I'm doing. So anyway, I done started sweating, y'all. Ooh, Jesus. That's going to do it for me, probably until a little bit later on today. And if I have anything else, I'll chime back in. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.